Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're going to do a live today. We're just getting Claire ready to go, but we're in here. Let's see where everybody's at in the comments today. We've already got oh wow, we've already got looks like a few hundred people already in here waiting for the stream. That's cool. We've got let's see where we've got people in from. Goldie says, let's get this party started. Goldie is our moderator for today. So everybody say hi to Goldie. We've got someone from Belgium. We've got some hey from the UK. We've got somebody from Maine. Tucson. Oh, they're going by so fast. Minneapolis, Burbank, St. Augustine, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, and oh, look who I found. Look who's here. Claire was we're in the middle of getting Claire all converted over to a new setup, and it looks like she's got a light that didn't go on, but that's okay.
It still didn't. I switched to natural light. I opened up my blind.
We can still see you. We can see you fine. It's all good.
Perfect. Yay.
I was just seeing where we got. We've got Terry Ray says it's 88 and sunny in the Ham. Is that Birmingham?
I'm guessing so. Sounds pretty hamish to me.
Yeah, it's Silver Spoon from New England. Mary from North Carolina. Wow, Amanda from South Africa.
Wow.
We've got GE from Hawaii. Wow. If this Rick Bishop, I'm pretty sure he's a legendary SB, if that's the same Rick Bishop that I'm thinking of. From a poet from Arkansas.
Nice.
Wow, we've got somebody from Greece.
Wow, purple coconut. Yay.
Lancaster, Auburn, Long Island. We've got a lot of people in here. This is filling up pretty quick here. Well, that's great. Nice. Yeah, we're almost up to 600 people in the first few minutes here.
Yay.
Which is
Thank
exciting.
you to everyone joining us.
Yeah.
Good to see you here.
Yeah, we appreciate people tuning in for these things. We don't do that many lives, but when we do them, we like it when people watch live. But you can always catch the replay if you miss us when we do these. We try to do it a little bit early on the weekends when we can, because then people in other time zones other than where we are in the United States can watch these live. That hits a lot of them. I know still people have to stay up late or get up early to watch them, but
yep. We got people here from Germany, from what was the other one I just saw? Denmark.
Nice.
Yep.
Very cool. Oh yeah, Copenhagen. Perfect. Well, thanks. I guess we'll get right into it. There's some awesome news on the last time we did a live, we did say that Mike and Christy were going to do a video at some point to update everybody. They did that update, Mike Rinder and his wife Christy, and we put a link to that in the description below. But basically, Mike's on his treatment. They're set for the first round of treatment, and the prognosis is getting better as he's getting treatment. And in about 10 weeks or so is when they'll know more information. But until then, it's just they're just continuing his treatment.
And how awesome is that Lily Cares Foundation approved 6 months of treatment? I mean, That is just on so many levels amazing and so ironic.
It is. It really is kind of crazy that in the end, Eli Lilly is
saving Mike's life.
Well, the one who's making this medication that he needs, and that they will that they're going to help him out with getting him the care he needs.
Yeah.
We did
Team Mike all the way.
Yes,
we're
hashtag
in
Team
it
Mike.
for the long haul. Yes, hashtag Team Mike.
We did have another Scientology Stories video come out this week that Claire did. She's been doing all these interviews with former Sea Org members and former Scientologists, and a lot of the people that she's doing these stories with are also doing a Where is Shelley interview, because a lot of these people from that were in the Sea Org, 20, 30 years ago, they knew David Miscavige when she was in the Sea Org. at that time. So she just did one with Hannah Eltringham Whitfield.
Yes,
and
that's right.
That just came out on Tuesday. I think on Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday or Wednesday. Hannah is amazing. She's such a gem. And the amazing part of her story is still coming. She is just a really unique person in that after she got out of Scientology, she and her husband, Jerry, have worked tirelessly to help people get their families out of Scientology. So we're going to do a whole episode just talking about that and how what her tips and tricks are, so to speak, of recovering loved ones from this dangerous cult.
Yeah. And it's a fascinating interview, and Hannah is amazing, and she has such amazing detail and recollection of all these different things that happened. And and we're talking about stories that happened in 1967. She's like, and then we went here and we did this, and then we did, and you're just like, what?
I know, it's amazing. It's for the first time, some of the things that we'd only ever read about when we were there, it was kind of like just theoretical, like all the Royal Scotsman, for example, one of the ships. I'm just learning so much from people who were actually there that it's making a lot of pieces fit together for me in terms of the whole history of it.
Yeah, and it also gives you a glimpse, because a lot of people that are in Scientology or that are in the Sea Organization within Scientology, they hear all these stories about what happened in the Sea Org back in the days when L. Ron Hubbard was creating this, and it's sort of become folklore and these fantasies of what happened. And then when you hear what actually happened, you're like, oh yeah, it was a total shit show.
Yeah.
Okay, it was like a show of how incompetent can this group of people be,
yeah.
and all of the nonsense that goes on, because Hubbard's just being arrogant, and we're going in here and we're going to do this, and everyone's like, what? And it doesn't work out in his favor in most cases. And Mark and Janice have a channel called Our Scientology Stories, Peeling the Onion.
Yeah, that's right.
And they're doing interviews as well with people, and they just did an interview with a Scientologist named Mitch Brisker. Now, Mitch Brisker was in the movie industry, in the Hollywood, in the entertainment industry, and he was a director, and he got involved in Scientology, and then he was sort of lured in through the Celebrity Center to help direct all of these internal training and public relations films for Scientology. And he has now, and he's been a director working with the Sea Org and Golden Era Productions and David Miscavige. I want to say from about 1990 is when he started doing that.
Yeah.
And so we're talking about 40 years he worked with the Sea Org and David Miscavige and Scientology producing these films, and now he's leaving and he's telling his story. So he did an interview with Mark and Janice. If you haven't seen that, you should get over to their channel and check that out. It's his name is Mitch Brisker.
Yeah, and we'll absolutely be talking to Mitch. I can't wait.
Yeah, I worked with Mitch on the film unit when I was it's called the Sea Org, or in Golden Era Productions, they called it the shoot crew chief. It's basically sort of equivalent to like a first assistant director or something like that. So I worked with Mitch a lot when we shot these films. And then when I became a pre-production director in the same organization, I worked with him, and whatever. We have plenty of stories that we could talk about on our ventures. Guerrilla shooting around Los Angeles without permits and all kinds of nonsense. Even when we had permits, there was a lot of nonsense. Yeah. But so that's great. And then the amazing thing that's starting to happen now is there's so many SPTV network channels or TV channels that if you have a story, if you're a former Scientologist or you're a former Sea Org member and you have a story to tell, there's about 20 different channels that you could get a hold of and say, hey, I'd love to tell you guys my story. And they'd love to have you on and tell your story. So the fact that Mitch was able to go and do this with Mark and Janice is amazing, because now there's not really any gatekeepers for these stories anymore. Depending on who you are or who you like or which channel you like, you could pick and choose.
Or do all of them. You know, everyone has a different perspective and take and different mutual experiences. That's what I'm really enjoying from the interviews I've been doing is, you know, just comparing notes is therapeutic, I hope, to the audience as much as it is to me.
Yeah, no, it's great. And the fact that now you can get so many different perspectives on this subject from so the common thing is Scientology likes to say is that it's just a handful of people, you know, it's just like, oh, these 3 people over here that they're, you know, just causing problems, they're apostates. And
on the fringes of the internet.
Yeah, on the fringes of the internet. So now what's happening is there's probably, I mean, someone did make a directory. I'm pretty sure Goldie will likely link to it in the comments. But I read through this directory. It's amazing. It's I want to say it's actually probably 50 different channels or you know, outlets. It's not all YouTube. But there's websites and someone is making just a directory that just keeps getting built and built and built and added to. But
I think it's more than 40 now.
I think it's more than 50. Like, wow. In terms of all the different places, like I'm saying, if you just count the YouTube channel, it's probably 30 or 40 or something like that. And also some of those people, they've even started to categorize them, because you've got all these former Sea Org members or former Scientologists. And then you have this other group that's called the Never-Ins. And they're never in. They're on the team and they're doing everything they can to expose it, or, you know, just bring attention to it even. But they're never in. They were never in Scientology, or they were never in the Sea Organization. Or
Never-Ins are my personal favorite, for the record.
But and the great thing is that we're hearing, not only are we hearing from Scientologists, guys, we are hearing from a lot of Scientologists that are, Scientology considers them Scientologists, but they themselves are kind of, they don't do it anymore. They don't support it. They don't spend money, but they might have family members or business relationships or something like that that are still involved in Scientology. So they're not just coming out and telling their story, but a lot of these people are sort of telling their story behind the scenes and filling in holes that we might have with some particular area or subject or whatever that happened. And a lot of them are telling us about stuff that's happening right now in Scientology, and like sort of like the rumors that are going around. And a lot of people are watching these videos and finding out, you know, deep, dark secrets about David Miscavige, for instance.
And it's funny to me that there's a whole, so you know how in Scientology, we all know there are acronyms for days. Well, now there's a whole new set of acronyms that describe this underground people. So somebody will write, "Hi, I'm UTR," instead of "under the radar."
Well, because if they speak out against Scientology, then they show up on Scientology's radar. Mm-hmm. So Scientology's the Office of Special Affairs, formerly known as the Guardian's Office, the organization, Scientology organization that perpetrated the largest infiltration into the United States government in its history, now called OSA, the Office of Special Affairs. They're like the dirty tricks department of Scientology. They're the one that hired the private investigators and the lawyers and mess with former members and put out hate sites. And within the Office of Special Affairs, there's an investigations department or bureau or whatever they call it at OSA. And within the investigations department is the Internet Unit. So the Internet Unit is an investigative arm of Scientology, their official Internet Unit. And those are the guys that create these hate websites and buy all these domains. And I actually, within the spy files, found a document that details out what they spent per week and per year on certain items. And here it is. I always speculated what it was, and I actually found a document. And this was in the early days. So this was back in I want to say 2005 or 2006, when they weren't that heavy doing stuff on the internet, they were spending $65,000 a year on domain names. $65,000 a year on domain names. That's not websites. That's not work. That's just buying davidmiscavigebeatshisstaff.com. They would buy that domain.
And that was before all the Who Is websites.
Yeah. So
yeah.
If you haven't seen one of the updated lists, there is a list of there's many lists, and we have videos on the Blown for Good channel, but there's David Miscavige vanity sites. So that's like the one I just told you, davidmiscavigebeatshisstaff.com, is so that if somebody searches David Miscavige beats his staff, they go to one of the Scientology websites. It's like, David Miscavige has never even yelled at anyone in his entire life, and he saves
don't they
little
also
birds.
don't they also have Who Is David Miscavige?
They have Who Is. They have Ron Miscavige's son.com. I mean, if you go to one of these videos, so there's David Miscavige vanity sites, there's Shelley Miscavige websites, there's the hate websites, like, so Who Is Mark Headley, Who Is Claire Headley, and then there are hate sites on Leah, David Miscavige's father. Oh, there's thousands and thousands and thousands, and we never knew how are they buying all. Well, they're spending $65,000 a year. At least that's what they spent back in the early 2000s. Yeah. So
let me share a thought, by the way,
because
it just occurred to me. We always talk about Office of Special Affairs and Guardian's Office and blah, blah, blah. You know how they always say, don't judge a book by its cover? Well, OSA is the Guardian's Office book, just with a new cover.
Yeah,
it's the
totally.
same old, exact same policies, everything Hubbard said to do. They just gave it a new name.
They have the exact same policy letters that they had before. They had the same. Hubbard didn't write like, okay, now that the Guardian's Office has been disbanded, that's what they did. They disbanded it. So they said, okay, there's no more Guardian's Office. And they told all these people, okay, you guys have to leave. Okay, now you guys who've been kind of working here, but nobody knows, you're now the Office of Special Affairs.
Yeah, so get back to work doing everything that they were doing. We just got a new name for you.
Yeah. Anyway.
And I love how they use the word disbanded. It's like, okay.
Yeah, and that's another thing that we should get into, is because every sort of faction or area of Scientology has its own set of policies for that activity. So if you're in Scientology and you're training to be a counselor, all of the things that you read are called HCO bulletins, and they all have all these codes. So those are it's white paper with red ink on white paper. That's the format, and that's how those are out. So whenever you see a Scientology document that has white paper and it has red ink, that's an HCO bulletin. And if you're doing any kind of counseling or auditing or training in Scientology courses, that's all the things that apply to that. If you're an administrator in Scientology, then the policies, it's called an HCO policy letter or an HCO PL, and those are all white paper with green ink. Okay, well, now the Sea Organization has its own set of policies, and public or civilian Scientologists, or just Scientologists that are on staff, like they're an employee of a local organization, say in Boston somewhere, they don't have access to all these flag orders. They're called flag orders from the Flag Organization. The flag ship that Hubbard was the commander of, he had all these, or the captain of, he had all these smaller ships. And so the main ship was called Flag. Okay, so flag orders are the policies for the Sea Organization. Mm-hmm. And the Sea Organization, I don't know how many flag orders are, maybe 1,000 or a few thousand?
Way more than that, yeah.
More than a few thousand flag orders?
Well, maybe that were officially released. I don't know.
Anyway, there's thousands. There's thousands of these flag orders. And they cover everything from brushing your teeth. Seriously. L. Ron Hubbard said, this is how you get this.
Polishing your shoes.
Yeah, you name it. He wrote it. And he wrote it when they were on the ship. Like, even if he just wrote something to somebody, like, hey, if you're going to clean the shower, you first got to do this, and then you got to do this, and then you got to... Though somebody would take that order or something that he told somebody, and they would make that into a flag order on how to clean a shower. Yeah. And there are flag orders on how to wash windows. We use ammonia and water and vinegar.
Yeah,
use
not
ammonia.
Not ammonia.
No?
No.
Vinegar and water. Vinegar and water.
And newspaper.
Yeah, I'm trying to give you a recipe for mustard gas. You put a little bit of bleach in there and some soap. Anyway, so you make this mixture, and then you can only use newspapers. You can't use paper towels. You can't use Windex. You have to do this exact formula that he literally says, put this much water, put this much of this, and then you get your newspaper, and then you wash the windows. So in the Sea Org, if you have a bottle of Windex and some paper towels and you're washing a window and somebody comes by, they're going to be like, what are you doing? You know, it's like that kind of thing. So
you reminded me when I was like 6 or 7 learning how to do this washing windows with newspapers. There was a time when I was wondering in my head if it was the reason it was newspapers is because the newspapers always had bad stories about Scientology in them. I was like, maybe that's why they're using newspapers.
There is a slight... I think there is a slide on newspapers somewhere in Hubbard where he says, "Oh, newspapers are dirty. You ever look at your hands after you read one? They're all black and that, you know." Anyway, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the reason this is important is because Claire just did this video with Jackson. Gary Moorhead. He used to be the security chief at the international headquarters in Gilman Hot Springs, California. But before he was at that location, he was in the Sea Org in Los Angeles. And he's telling this story. And in the video, I don't watch every single video that Claire does, but I do have to edit them together, and I put an intro and an outro, and I go through and tweak a few little things, and then I upload it. And I was watching this thing, and he in the middle of this story, he just says, "Oh yeah, and there's this one time I was supposed to clean what's called the Commodore's Messenger Organization, and that is the organization that had people that were working for Hubbard to carry out his orders, essentially."
Yep.
And Jackson is going in and cleaning these dorms, and he walks into David Miscavige's dorm. David Miscavige was in the Commodore's Messenger Organization, and he is getting busy with somebody in this dorm.
He being David Miscavige.
David Miscavige. Now, in the Sea Organization, there's a flag order, and this flag order is called Out to D. Now, maybe you should explain that, how that is.
So the short version is second dynamic. 2D stands for second dynamic, which in Scientology is the urge towards survival of families, your relationships. So, for example, your husband or your wife or your partner, your children, which there's no children in the Sea Organization, but that's another thing. So, your activities in with a partner, et cetera, are referred to as 2D. Out 2D is a violation of the rules for that. So generally it's a broad label, but it generally refers to anything other than, for a Sea Organization member, anything more than just holding hands or a peck is out 2D.
Yeah. So now the reason this is important is because if you've ever worked with David Miscavige for any amount of years, he is fascinated with any relationships that are going on in his vicinity or wherever he's working. So, like if we were at the Ent base and we were having a meeting with him in this area, kind of almost in the center of the property, and it was right next to the dining hall. And if people were walking down to the dining hall for dinner or walking up away from the dining hall after dinner, he would say like, "Oh, what's up with those two? Are they a couple now?" Or, oh, how long have those guys been dating? Or what do you is something cooking there? Like, he was fascinated with interpersonal relationships between couples.
Yeah,
And
because there was no dating in the Sea Organization either. It was just an agreement. Okay, we'll sit on the bus riding home together, kind of thing. You never went on any dates or anything, so let's not.
Yeah,
you gotta define your terms here, honey.
Yeah, dating means dating in the Sea Org means they're about to be married very quickly.
Yeah.
And so the other thing that's very common in the Sea Org is that if there's a couple that have been going together for more than a few weeks or a few months, then they're really like on a stage, and everyone is waiting for them to go out 2D because it's going to happen.
Yeah,
it's
and
going to happen.
And the second either one of them does anything wrong or gets in any kind of trouble, the assumption will always be that they're up to no good with the two of them.
Yeah, that'll be the very first subject of the interrogation questions are, what have you guys been up to? What have you done? Where did you do it? How did you do it? How long did it last? Every excruciating detail about anything that's gone on.
Yep.
Okay, so that's sort of the backdrop to this whole thing. So now Jackson's just telling this story. Oh, I was supposed to clean the room. And he walked in and, oh, Dave's getting busy. And I was just like, did you just say that David Miscavige was going out 2D?
Yeah. To us, it was mind-blowing. And also, too, because I've been extensively putting together this timeline of all the details of Shelley's life for Where is Shelley series. And I was like, wow, she started dating, well, they became a couple. Again, I'm not going to use the word dating because that's not real. But they had an agreement of a relationship starting in 1978 when Shelley was 17 years old. But they didn't get married until December 1982 when Shelley was, yeah, exactly.
So anyway,
it's like, wow, that's the longest unmarried relationship in the history of the Sea Organization. That's mind-boggling. And then and of course Jackson said it was not a private room, it was a dormitory where there were other male Sea Org members, and this was in the middle of the afternoon, so they'd obviously snuck off and were getting up to nonsense.
Yeah. So that's another thing, because when we were looking at the timeline, we're thinking it's really weird that it doesn't make sense that they were together for 3 years and then they got married so much. Like, that's very, very, very uncommon in the Sea Org because of this reason that couples are going to get in trouble because they're not going to make it that long with like, oh, how's it going? Oh, good to see you. Okay, good to see you too. That's not what's happening. And anyway, so the best part is that I think it's even in the interview was like, who was he with? Like,
I know. I was like, well, wait a minute. My $1 million question is, was it Shelley?
Yes. And the answer was, it was Shelley.
Yeah,
so
it was.
We now know, and to everybody in the real world, it's like, whatever. This is ridiculously stupid. But if you're in Scientology or you're in the Sea Organization, and you may have gone to the RPF, the Rehabilitation Project Force, which is like the Scientology work camp for 5 or 6 years because you made out with your boyfriend or maybe was involved in some other activities that led to one thing or another, and you were literally in a prison camp. Normal human
instincts.
Yeah, you were in a prison camp for 5 years. And the person who may have said you need to go and do that was David Miscavige. And he had already been doing that way before. And here's the other thing, which this is a huge, because this happened and because he was so fascinated with it, and because if you say, well, if he believed in the technology and he believes in this and he believes in that, it's very, very probable that in that 3 years, David Miscavige wasn't the head of Scientology during this time. No. And Shelley wasn't anything either. She had been a messenger for L. Ron Hubbard by this time.
Yeah. They were executives, but they were not top executives.
Yeah.
I mean, they had power, but they weren't they
No.
weren't the leaders. They were 5 years off from that, or more actually at that point. Yeah.
Yeah. So the point is that it's very probable and highly likely that during that 3-year period, they were interrogated on the e-meter if they had been up to nonsense. And they had both lied and said, no, we weren't.
Yep.
So the fact that David holier than thou Miscavige, cranky boss baby, was doing up to nonsense when LRH was still, L. Ron Hubbard was still around, and they were in one way or another working for him, and they were up to all this nonsense. For any Sea Org member that's out there, it's gonna mean something to them, and it's gonna make a lot of things about David Miscavige make sense. Like he's not better than everybody else. He's not pure and
pure as the driven snow. And the funny
he's
part
he's got dirty hands. According to his sort of standards that he holds everybody else to, he was doing that stuff way more and way before any of them. And one of the craziest things is there is a flag order called Out 2D. And that is that for the Sea Org, that policy essentially says, if you have relationships before you're married with another female or male Sea Org member, then you are to be left. It's called beached. You're to be beached. So like when they're driving around and they see an island, they're going to stop and they're going to throw you off. And that's your new spot now.
And
you get
since
beached.
they were on land, they'd get kicked out, which, obviously now you see where the stakes at hand come in as to why they wouldn't confess this. But it is at odds with... it does poke a very big hole in belief in Scientology to not confess, right?
Totally.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that there's so many Hubbard writings that say that which you accuse somebody else of, you yourself are guilty of. So for, all the many times David Miscavige accused somebody of all these things, it made so much sense to you and I for that reason. Like, wow, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, totally. It was like, oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding me. Mm-hmm. And the best part is that Jackson, I don't even think he thought anything about it. He was just like, oh yeah, it just happened, and in security, they're doing inspections and they're doing birthing inspections and they're going to people's rooms or it's the cleaning people. There was a lot of times where people would go to somebody's room for something and there'd be all kinds of things happening in the room and you'd be like, oh, oops. And then it becomes this dilemma of like,
what do I do?
Oh, and that's the other thing. Jackson never reported it to anybody.
No, he was going to, but then he was like, well, David Miscavige did have clout at that time. He's like, reverse, walk away.
So that's another one of these things where you really find out who's on what team when people rat each other out. And it's whoever rats them out will take great credit in doing so when they do it. But then you got to know that's that dude over there. If you're going to get up to nonsense, you got to make sure that guy ain't around because he's going to rat you out.
Oh my gosh. There were so many of those. It was
like little spies, little spiders.
And they would use it to get extra brownie points with, their boss or whatever.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's a total normal thing. Anyway, if you haven't seen the video, you should get over there and watch it. It's the Scientology. No, this is not Scientology Stories. This is Where's Shelley number 6, I think it is.
Yep,
I think it's number 6.
So.
Let's say it's number 6, whether it's number 6 or not. No, I'm going to look. It is.
Yeah, it's number 6.
It's number 6.
Yeah.
It's number 6. And number 7's coming out next week. Claire's done some more Scientology stories. We've done some more Where's Shelley, and we're doing some more Scientology stories as well.
Yeah, I did an interview with Ono Nora that will be coming out soon. That was a lot of fun, chatting with Nora for the first time since I think the last time I saw her was 1996 in Clearwater, Florida.
Wow. Yeah. And somebody says, didn't Janice already give this information about Shelley, beginning of Dave and Shelley, in an interview with Aaron, I think? I don't know. I mean, that's the other thing. when this happened, they were in Los Angeles. So a lot of that Janice's stories about the early stuff with Shelley took place in aboard this ship called the Apollo. Excuse me. And that was where L. Ron Hubbard started the Sea Project, which then became the Sea Organization, which then moved to land in the late 1970s in Florida. And they kind of split it all over the United States and elsewhere as well. But I don't know about this thing with Jackson. I don't know why Janice would talk about this thing with Dave and Shelley, because I don't think Janice was there when Jackson walked in on Shelley.
No,
but
I
either
don't
way, I'm just looking at, this is the comment, Tess Forbes. Didn't Janice already give this information about the beginning of Dave and Shelley? He might have gave in the beginning. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's so many Scientology channels. Like I will go on YouTube and I'll see somebody doing a broadcast. I'll jump in, I'll say hi, I'll stay for a few minutes, and then I back out. But yeah, there are, and the people that do, that are on, and I haven't been, I'm sorry, I can't go to every single video. There's too many to even keep track of anymore.
Yeah, we don't even have enough time to do all the interviews we're trying to do.
I know.
It's like, oh my gosh.
I do love that other people are doing interviews with all other channels, and Apostate Alex has got people coming on, and Chris Shelton and
Kelly Copter.
Yeah, there's so many different channels with so many different perspectives on this, and we are hearing from people that weren't even in Scientology, that were just like, the group I was in seemed pretty similar to whatever you guys are talking about, and it may have helped them in some way. So I'm happy that whatever, between all of these videos and all these different channels, people seem to like the content, because we keep getting more views and more people engaging. So we'll keep going as long as there's people here that want to hear about this stuff. We'll keep talking about it.
Yeah, we're almost about to hit our next major milestone of 35,000 subscribers. So to all you 1,481 people, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification so you get alerted of new content.
Yeah, we're at 34,747. So we're only like 250 away from
giving away another book.
Yes, we have every 1,000 we tick over, we give away a book. There's been a lot of books. If you guys also, there's a whole bunch more. I don't know, depending on who's normally here and who's not here, or who's been on this channel or not been on this channel before. We have, I want to say 100 different merch items in the BFG store now, between mugs and cups and t-shirts and sweaters and hoodies and hats and stickers, and there's all kinds of nonsense up in there. If you want to support the channel, that's a good way to do it. Go to the store, the Blown for Good store, or Blown for Good shop, I think they call it, in the description. Is there anything else that, let's see, we get to...
Are we doing giveaways today, by the way? I forgot to ask
Oh, yeah,
about
we should
that.
do a giveaway. What time is it? Oh, it's 38. We should just do one right now.
Yeah.
If you're in the comments, and as soon as we're done with this, we'll do Q&A. But if you want to, we do have, I think last time I went in the store, there was at least two people that donated for giveaways. So we'll do two giveaways. We'll do one now, and we'll do one like in 45 minutes.
Nice.
If you want a free thing from the Blown for Good store, just tell us in the chat you want some merch. Say merch me or book me or whatever. We've got Blown for Good books. We've got any merch from the merch store. If you get that, you just send us an email with what thing you want from the store, and Claire will just send you a code, and you can just buy it and get it for free. You don't have to pay shipping or anything. We just ship it out to you, and we will do it to wherever you're from. So people ask us all the time, but what if I'm in the UK? Doesn't matter. Wherever you're at, we'll just send it to you. So let me go to the chat here and see if there's anybody in there. Oh, there's 1,500 people right now.
Yay.
There's probably at least 3 or 4 of those in the chat.
There's all kinds of people commenting.
Goodness, there are. And I just caught up to where it is. I'm going to do a countdown. So I'll do like a 5, 4, 3, and a 2, and a 1, and skadoosh. Enchanted Chains Jewelry merch, please.
Yay.
You got it, Enchanted Chains Jewelry. You're the big lucky winner on the first giveaway of this live today. Yep. So email Claire at blumforgood.com and with a link of what you want in the store, and she will send you back a link that lets you get it for free. Do we have anything else that we forgot to bring up? We got... we talked about the Gary video.
We have a lot of great material coming up.
We do.
On Shelley's early years, that to me anyway explains so much as to how we got to where we are today, where she hasn't been seen in a very long time. And so that'll be good. Stay tuned for that. Lots of great pictures and information. I've been receiving all kinds of new material from various different people who knew Shelley. So thank you to everyone who has emailed me. I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, we have some really good ones coming up. And it's funny because we're trying to find out, we're trying to talk to anybody who knew Shelley, worked with Shelley. And when we hear about stories about Shelley, invariably we find out something about Dave. And that's how we found out this thing about Dave, basically being a very, very bad Sea Org member many, many years ago. And the fact that he punished other Sea Org members for something that he was doing for years, it's just infuriating. Maybe it means something more personal to me, because I want to say I know at least 30 people where their whole marriage was ruined, or their relationship, or their whole life took a major change of direction for the worse because of something that they did, and he was the one who put the screws to him. And you just think like, oh my goodness, I knew it. Anyway, to me, it's so Dave. So anyway, it's just one of those things. It's so Dave.
It is.
He is such a right bastard, that dude.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But hey, on a happier note, let's take a moment to give a shout out to our amazing moderator, Goldie. All hail Goldie. We love you, Goldie.
I did that at the head of the broadcast when you were trying to figure out where your lights were at.
Okay, sorry about that.
I did that. I did all that.
Thank you.
Took care of business.
Appreciate you taking care of that.
Let's go to the questions here. It's what time is it? Let's make sure we don't forget that next giveaway. Somebody will remind us if we don't. We'll do it.
Yep.
You know what? Let's just do it on the hour. Let's do it. So it's going to be in 18 minutes. We'll do another one.
Great.
Let's rock through some questions here. Lathanda Grocklinger says, thanks for streaming at a Europe-friendly time. That's right. That's all we do over here at SPTV is we're very Europe-friendly right now.
Yeah, Lathanda, thank you for always being here, whether we're Europe-friendly or not. We love you.
She says that, and she's been on, we've done like 9 o'clock at night streams here, and she's in there at that time. So maybe that's really early in the morning. I don't know, but either way, thank you for that.
Yes.
Paula Puffer, looking forward to upcoming stories. Oh yeah, they're going to be so good. And the funniest thing about these new videos that we have, thanks for that, Paula. The funniest thing about some of these new videos that we have coming up is that it's a lot of these current Scientologists that are still in that we're hearing from when we're doing these stories, because we're filling in blanks, and we're also sort of getting rid of the folklore and telling you what actually happened. So in Scientology, you would think that when L. Ron Hubbard walked down the sidewalk, there was just a ray of sunshine following him everywhere he went, based on how they talk about him. And when you hear the stories from Hannah and these other people, there was no sunshine. It was all storm clouds.
And not to mention the fact that I loved when Hannah was talking about what Hubbard would drink. They always thought it was Coca-Cola, but it was really like 80% rum with 20% Coca-Cola. And you're like, wow, stiff drinks.
Yeah,
Jeez
which
Louise.
also really answered the question on how this dude had the worst teeth in the world, is because he was drinking Coke a day and night, and he was washing it down with rum. So it was like,
and the craziest imagination, right?
Yeah, but he also didn't. He hated dentists. He was like, you'd think that he was in, what's that show? The one with the plant that eats the people. Little Shop of Horrors. You think he'd been to the dentist in Little Shop of Horrors?
I didn't see that one, honey. I'm still filling in my media blackout years. Don't forget.
Jan Swartz says, Mark, just finished your book. Amazing. You put up with a lot more crap than I would have. So happy you two came together. Yes, no, I did. I didn't know any better because I sort of grew up in it. And I only realized after leaving how much nonsense we actually did put up with. And it's funny, too, that we were paid $46 a week if we got paid. Mm-hmm. And now that was one of the things that our lawsuit was about. We were like, hey, listen, we worked for you guys for like a decade or so, and you didn't pay us. You probably should have paid us. There was a bunch of nonsense that went on. Just pay us and we'll be fine. We lost that lawsuit. So now I'm just telling stories about all that work that I did, and I'm getting paid. So there you go. Thank you, Scientology. I'll figure it out on my end. Kethla, greetings from Ireland, though I'm Swedish. So nice to hear the news about Mike feeling better. I once got lured into a session in Birmingham when I was 25, but gave a fake name. Lucky me. Oh, yeah, wow. You dodged a bullet on that one. Yeah, if you do go into one of those places, just out of curiosity, do not give them your contact info. You will be in their system for the rest of the time.
Yep.
Rev Girl.
We get people emailing all the time saying, how do I get off the mailing list? And you're like, so I've just started sending people what Google says, which is, return to sender, not wanted, and then report it to the fraud. There's a fraud federal link that I send people. I don't know if it works, but it's worth doing something.
You can also just say Xenu is my homeboy, and they will take you off the list.
Yeah.
They don't want to see no Xenu coming back their way. That's a bad word in Scientology.
Or say Xenu moved, or Xenu doesn't live here anymore.
No, just say Xenu is my homeboy. He works. I'm hanging out with Xenu. We had 2 drinks the other night. That's it.
Yeah, that's funny.
Rev Girl says, SPTV is recruiting more non-Scientologists than orgs. Yeah, we are slaying it in the contacting people department. Scientology wishes, seriously, we're at 34,000, we're almost 35,000. Scientology wishes they had 35,000 people that were subscribing to them. Mm-hmm. Metalhead says, I'm curious about that woman who got intercepted in South Africa, got put on the phone with DM and he got her back. What do you think he told her? After all horror stories, nothing would work on me. That's a great question, Claire. What do you think?
Well, so David Miscavige was very manipulative and controlling. So I'm sure that she was probably escaping because he'd abused her, whether it be verbally, physically. I don't know. I don't know the specifics, but I know that it was right around the whole time of the Lisa McPherson wrongful death at the hands of, where Lisa McPherson died at the hands of Scientology, and Sue, this woman, had been in charge of the Religious Technology Center offices there in Clearwater, Florida. Anyway, so I'm sure that he made all kinds of promises to her, apologized, did whatever he had to do to get her physically back. This woman's parents were also declared suppressive people. So there was no question in David Miscavige's mind that the risk was very, very great having this woman escape. So I'm sure he went to, he did whatever he had to do to get her on a plane to get her back.
Yeah, and the interesting thing in that case, thanks, Metalhead. The interesting thing in that case is that Sue, her name is Sue Gentry, or she's Sue Wilhair now. She's married to Greg Wilhair, who also works with David Miscavige.
Yeah.
And even though Sue Wilhair was the head of the Religious Technology Center office in Florida, the person that was telling her everything to do with this woman that passed away, Lisa McPherson, the person who was telling her exactly what to do with that girl was David Miscavige.
Yep.
So, and David Miscavige was the one who was dictating the exact steps of what this girl would do himself. That's how much he micromanages things. He was dictating the next actions that would be done to handle her directly. So the fact that she passed away with him being the one, in Scientology it's called a case supervisor, a person who is supervising this particular person's case, their counseling and all of their sessions and their counseling work. That's all called a case in Scientology. And David Miscavige was being her case supervisor. He was CSing her folders. And so for that one person to pass away, that kind of tells you how good David Miscavige is at Scientology.
Which funny you say that. I was going through Jesse Prince's book. He's was a very high up person in Scientology. He was part of Religious Technology Center, but he tells this anecdote in his book, which is called The Expert Witness, wherein he says that David Miscavige was telling Jesse how he had done his auditor training. He'd learned how to do Scientology counseling at St. Hill when David Miscavige was a teenager. And David told Jesse, yeah, I wasn't very good at it. One time I was giving this woman counseling and I ended up punching her in the face in the session. You're like, wow, okay then. That was never supposed to happen.
That makes a lot of sense too. I could totally see that happening.
Yeah.
Miss Kim says, we'll have a website up soon with links to everything. If anyone wants to help, please do. I'm not tech savvy. Hopefully Claire can put us together.
Perfect.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Miss Kim has emailed me, so I'll dig through that and figure that out. We have some connections that can definitely be made there.
Awesome. Joan Prather, who got JT in, still a Scientologist. I've never even heard of this woman. Joan Prather. She might have gotten a different name too. Scientologists like to get married and remarried.
Yeah, I think Jeff Hawkins told me about this person. I just don't know if she's still in, or I don't know.
Well, we'll put the word out there. If anybody knows about Joan Prather, drop us a line.
Yep.
Stacy says, merch idea, DM Chew Dog Toy. Yeah, the merch company that we're working with right now does not have dog toys. It's not the easiest thing to customize. So usually things that are flat that you can print something onto is what they like. So mouse pads, t-shirts, even mugs, they can do those. It's a small surface they can put something on. But dog chew toys, not the flattest, most customizable thing, Stacy. But we have asked. So if it becomes available, we will do it.
Yep.
Thank you for that. The Daily Owl says, hi from Poland. Big fan of the channel. Random question. Are there people still around in Scientology that joined in the 50s and still are active members? Whoosh. There's not a lot of those, Daily Owl. Thank you for that. When I was still in Golden Era Productions, the media arm of Scientology, we would interview these, and we called them old-timer videos. And these were people that either were in England with L. Ron Hubbard in the 1950s, or in New Jersey, or in the Apollo and the Sea Org, or any of these places that he was at in the early days, in Los Angeles when he was doing lectures in Los Angeles. I want to say there was about 15 or 20 of these folks around that we could interview, and every year we'd lose one or two of them.
And this was 20 years ago.
Yeah, this was back in the 90s and the early 2000s. But it was not a long list of people. Almost, I'd say about 97.5% of the people that worked with L. Ron Hubbard were declared suppressive persons. So for somebody who wrote the book on how to spot suppressives, he sure seemed to be working with and dealing with a lot of them in his personal life and his work life. So much so that L. Ron Hubbard's own family members were declared suppressives. And that is another kind of thing that David Miscavige kind of follows in the footsteps of L. Ron Hubbard. David Miscavige, his own father was an SP. His sister has been arrested as a drug dealer.
But she's still a Scientologist.
She's still a Scientologist, but she is a convicted drug dealer.
Yeah.
But then, or she sold drugs. I don't know if she was convicted as a dealer per se, but she has dealt and received payment for drugs in some form or another. That's David Miscavige's twin sister, Denise.
Yeah, not his son, his brother.
Who? His son?
David Miscavige's brother.
Did I say son?
No, I did by mistake. I was correcting myself.
Oh yeah, his brother was in the Sea Organization. He's not in Scientology or the Sea Organization anymore.
His niece, Jenna Hill Miscavige.
Written a book.
Miscavige Hill, yep.
Suppressive person. So yeah, David Miscavige and L. Ron Hubbard, not the best SP detectors they've ever had on the team over there in Scientology land. Stacy, merch idea, dropping the body lawn darts. Yeah, lawn darts are also not easily customizable, and I think they're highly illegal in the United States as far as I know, because people would end up with them in their skulls or their foot or their arm or their shoulder or their back. Jan Swartz says, read the documents that were forwarded to you. If they eventually used as an FBI evidence, maybe they shouldn't be posted online. Yeah, I don't really think it matters where they get posted if they're evidence, because they're evidence regardless of where they end up. Yep. The thing about these documents is that in most cases, there are many people that are copied on them, and Scientology keeps all these separate files. So if somebody says, we know these documents exist in your files, if they were to deny it, it would almost be admitting that they have them, because they would be like, no, you had all these copies of them. You couldn't have lost 5,000 documents and all of the copies in every single location that they were existing. It's very messy and sticky with a lot of these things, just because who's involved, and oh my goodness, I don't know what you do with them as far as law enforcement goes, but I'm going to try to get them out to as many people as I can, especially the people that they're about.
Yep.
Enchanted Chains Jewelry question. The suppressive electrician and I are wondering if his mini mic visits Clearwater Amphitheater and the Sandcastle pics are going to be shown. He just got transferred off the job. LOL, LOL. I don't know.
We did show some of those pics.
What are you talking about?
Months ago. Bobble pics, when we were doing bobble pics.
At the amphitheater?
Yes, we did.
Do we have more?
Yes, we do.
Well, it's just ask if they're going to be shown.
Right. So
did we show them?
Not the later ones, I don't think.
Oh, I've never seen any of this. I don't know what any of this is about.
We'll figure it out. Enchanted Chains Jewelry. We haven't done bobble pics in a while, though we have still been getting some here and there, so we'll figure it out. Yeah,
if I get a lot, I'll do it, but I just haven't been getting them. So if people don't send them to me, I can't show them to you guys.
Yep.
Penguin Eye says, merch idea. I see no reason to join.
I see no reason to join a cult.
I see no reason to join. Oh my goodness.
Wah, wah, wah.
Okay.
I think it's funny.
I don't know what this one is. Faye question. Mark, tell us your story about the lock picking.
Somebody was saying in the comments about for a construction site for a shoot or something that you had a lock picking story. I don't know. It didn't ring an immediate bell, but maybe it was something that Mitch was talking about. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out.
I don't know
either. We'll get back
either.
to you on that.
I grew up in Hollywood, so I picked a lot of locks in my time. I used to be known for it. I could get into briefcases. I could get into certain locks. I just had a knack for it.
Yeah, when someone would escape, they would always bring Mark whatever they had that they left behind that was locked.
Yeah.
And Mark would figure out how to get into it.
I'd open it up for him.
Yeah, security meaning. He'd open
security would come to me and say, here, I need this briefcase open. I'd be like, okay, here you go. Pop it open for him. I used to be really good at briefcase combination locks.
Yeah.
Kind of like legendary. Irma Webb. Question, Mark and Claire, do you know the word Scientology was not coined by LRH? It comes from a 1905 book called The New Word. Yeah. In that book, there are other Scientology things, and kind of, if you were a Scientologist and you read this book, The New Word, you are going to see that L. Ron Hubbard was ripping stuff off starting with this book in 1905. And there's other books from the 1800s, and there's other books from the early 1900s that obviously Hubbard had read or somebody had sent him, and he stole just whole subjects or whole like kind of philosophies or ideas about something. He just took the whole thing, changed a little bit of it in some cases, and in some, not a lot at all. Like just said, I like all this. I'm just going to take the whole thing, and I'm not even going to change the way the verbiage or anything. And that is the reason why I think we're getting a lot more Scientologists that are watching the channel, and a lot more Scientologists that are reaching out to us, because there's a certain stage of cop out in Scientology where you're like, yeah, this David Miscavige guy, he's out of control. I don't think I can support this. Mm-hmm. And then they kind of start pulling back, and they're using, not that Scientology is wrong or L. Ron Hubbard was wrong, but David Miscavige is 100% not following the policies and the procedures of Scientology, and just disregarding or rewriting L. Ron Hubbard materials, which L. Ron Hubbard says you're not allowed to do that. So it's easy for a Scientologist to say, well, I'm not going to be involved in Scientology because it's not pure anymore. But then when once they do that, that's the first step. Once they do that, then they start finding out how L. Ron Hubbard wasn't pure. Then it's easy for them just to say, okay, I'm out. I'm done. It was all nonsense.
Yeah. Let me add one comment about this book. So there was a list of about in excess of 2,000 books that L. Ron Hubbard had in his library. And when Bonnie View was built, which was the $40 million mansion at the headquarters, that whole the library was filled with all of this massive list of books that included that book, books from Freud, books, all kinds of books that we would never have read. And so when we were working on this project to get copies of all these books, it was pretty eye-opening.
Yeah. No, he was definitely up to no good. Mm-hmm. Hannah Reynolds said, question, did LRH pick up all his rules at primary school? He who smelt it, dealt it. He who denied it, supplied it. Level of brilliance in his approach. I don't know. But, it's funny that you say that, because Hubbard was also another one of those people who, very similar to David Miscavige in this thing with the people, having relationships and then getting in trouble for doing stuff they weren't supposed to be doing. Mm-hmm. L. Ron Hubbard, he talked about psychiatrists and psychologists and drugs, psychiatric drugs and all this. Like, if you had taken psychiatric drugs, a specific kind of psychiatric drugs, psychotropic medicines, then you were not allowed to be a Scientologist. You were not allowed to get Scientology counseling. You weren't allowed to be a Sea Org member. You could never be posted as an executive. All these sort of things, you're basically not capable of being helped anymore because you've now taken these drugs. When L. Ron Hubbard passed away, those are the exact drugs that he had in his body. When they did an autopsy, he was full of these drugs. So it's one of those things where Scientology is like, oh yeah, you're not supposed to take drugs and and L. Ron Hubbard said it's this and it's bad for this. Yeah, the dude was taking them. Okay. Yep. So, when it's do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh.
Kyla McDonald says, and Goldie holds the wrench to almost all of the channels. She's a superhero. She really does.
Is.
There is one thing that happened in different channels. Like some of the SPTV channels, like we're not the boss of those channels. Like somebody wrote, a few people have written to me and said like, hey, these guys have memberships activated, or these people have this on their channel. Everyone's doing this. This is not our job. We're doing this because we want to do it. We feel it's helpful to some people, and at least to Scientologists and other people that have been in other cults and stuff like that. But if a channel wants to enable membership so that they get their content out to those people earlier, or if you can't chat unless you're a member, that's that channel. That's how they're monetizing their channel, or that's how they're doing it. Claire and I, we have our own jobs and our own businesses, so we're not doing this to, put food on the table for our kids.
Yeah.
We're doing this as a service, and we just rely on YouTube to figure all that stuff out. If they put ads and they do this and we make something off of it, then great. So on that note, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, you should get on that and do that.
Our goal here at Bloom for Good is inclusion. And also the YouTube analytics tells us that 50% of the people here are here because YouTube promoted it to them. So we want to include everybody with no strings attached.
Yeah.
Other than hitting the subscribe button.
Yeah. And the like and the notifications and the bell icon. And it's time for another giveaway.
Yeah.
So we'll get back to these questions in a minute. We have been getting through a lot of questions.
Let me just answer a question in the comments. So the picture behind me is a self-portrait my son did. Here. He's got a very, very long perception of his neck, and he's very elongated in his mind. But it was intentional. It was imitating art from a time period where that was the in thing.
Okay.
So yeah, there you go.
Let's leave it at that then.
It's all right.
Okay.
I'm gonna fix up my background and make it all fancy and nice.
Yeah, she's got shelves coming. Okay, if you're in the chat and you want something, let me know what you want. Merch, bauble, book, bracelet, whatever you want, get in there. I'll let people, some people are like, I was on the couch, I couldn't. I'm giving you enough warning so you can get to your device. Or, people are watching on Apple TV, they're watching on their phone, their iPad, their Kindle Fire. I don't know what people are watching on anything and everything these days. So you got to give them a few seconds to get up and get some of that. Okay, so that's enough time. 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh my God, it goes so fast. We got 1,600 people in here right now.
Yeah.
And 1. Mary H. Book. Okay, Mary H. You get a book. Email Claire at bloomforgood.com and she will send you a book. It's going to be a paperback because we are running out of hardbacks, right? Is it hardbacks we're running out of or paperbacks?
No, we're running out of paperbacks.
We're running out of paperbacks?
Yeah, we are. We are running out.
No. I think you
Yes. Honey,
Seriously?
I ship all the orders. I keep the inventory. Don't question me.
But it's the paperbacks that we're running out of?
Yes.
Not the hardbacks.
Well, we're getting much lower on hardbacks than we've ever been, but we will absolutely run out of paperbacks before we run out of hardbacks. But that's okay.
Wow.
Mary, let me know your preference, and whatever your preference is, that's what I'll send to you.
Yeah, I want to say that there's 2 piles of books. There's a paperback stack and there's a hardback stack. And of one of those, there's only like 2, there's 8 boxes of one, and there's like 50 of another.
Not 50, but yeah, no, a lot more.
Okay. Well, there
I
you
have
go.
the numbers.
Okay.
I know.
She's taking care of business. I don't know.
Trust me, I know. I count up those boxes at least once every month or so.
Well, thank you,
See where
Mary.
we're at.
You get a book. Hardback or paperback, I don't know. Just whichever one you want. It'll be signed by both of us.
Yep.
Back to the questions. Mary K. Setzer says, question, was Dave born into Scientology? How did he get in? Ron Miscavige tells the story that when him and his wife got into Scientology when Dave Miscavige was very young, and he was very small and he was asthmatic. And when they did some Scientology counseling on him, it helped his asthma. And he then started doing Scientology training on how to become a counselor when he was like 14 or 15 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then they were in England at this facility called St. Hill in East Grinstead, Sussex.
West Sussex, yes.
Oh, West Sussex. East Grinstead, West Sussex.
Yeah, of course.
And
I know it's counterintuitive.
It's
Just
so
trust me,
random.
that's what it is.
Yeah, well, I live in North Hollywood in Southern California.
Yeah, see? It's exactly like that. You got it.
So that is how he got in. He got in as a young child. And then he joined the Sea Organization and started working for Hubbard and the Sea Organization. And then later on Ron Miscavige then also joined the Sea Organization I want to say in the 1980s, in the, let's say late 80s, mid to late 80s. Then Ron Miscavige joined the Sea Org and worked at Golden Era Productions as a musician. He was like a professional trumpet player. Okay, thank you. I think we answered that pretty thoroughly. Daphne's mom, question: are Sea Org staff charged for the uniform? Do they get a set amount issued or replacements as needed? Amazingly great question, Daphne's mom. Thank you.
Yep.
In the Sea Org, you are issued a uniform of sorts.
Not new.
Depending on where you work and depending on how long you've been in the Sea Organization, if you're a new Sea Org member, you're going to get the Sea Org uniform, at least in our time, okay? From 1990 to 2005, this is how it was done. At the international headquarters, the top of all of the Scientology Sea Organizations. When I arrived at the Int base, I was given a set of uniforms, and I would say that 75% of the uniform parts were used. Used shoes, used pants, shirts. That's it. That's really what you get. You get pants, shirts, shoes.
Yep. Now,
depending on your uniform and where you work, you may also get a belt and a belt buckle that has a little Sea Org. It's a little like, it's a piece of junk. Anyway, but you get a belt and a belt buckle. You buy socks, underwear, that's all on you. But a lot of times, in my case, I got clothes from somebody that wasn't my size. So I had high waters for probably the first 6 months I was in the Sea Org at the Int base. I had, like, they came up to like my lower calf, my pants. It literally was like maybe 5 or 6 inches too short, the pants. They were the right waist, but not the right length. And that's just what I got. And the uniform lady, her name was Paula Press, and her nickname was Pogo. Was it Pogo?
Yeah, that's right.
It was Pogo, right?
Yeah, it was Pogo. You're absolutely right. And let's not skip over the fact that the way they were recycling the uniform is that when somebody would escape, boom, they just got a whole new stash of uniform to add to the pile. So 9 times out of 10, you'd be wearing the uniform of somebody who had escaped. So that would be your original assignment. There was supposed to be an allotment that was given to you. It just never was done. And so oftentimes too, we would end up using our $46 to buy a new pair of shoes, for example, for ourselves, or a new shirt or whatever. So yeah.
And even at Golden Era Productions, at a certain time during the 1990s, I want to say in 1995, a lot of the staff at this particular place in the Int base in the middle of the desert in California, we were wearing long pants, long polyester pants, and long sleeve button down polyester shirts with a t-shirt underneath, black leather shoes, and black socks. In the California desert, where it's 120 degrees Fahrenheit, I'm not sure what the conversion on that is Celsius. It's hot. It'll melt. It'll burn the top of your feet if you're standing outside. The shoes will soak up the sun, and then they will burn your feet through your socks. That's how hot it is. So in 1995, and I'm not sure why this happened. Maybe somebody out there knows, but we switched. Somebody somewhere decided, maybe not the best idea to put these guys in these outfits. And I think it was because people were fainting. We'd have these things called a muster where they gather everybody up and you all stand in line, and they're outside in the hot 120 degree heat. And people would just be standing there for so long, they just take a hit. They just fall over and hit the deck.
On a couple of occasions, somebody did die. I don't know that it was from heat exhaustion. Remember, there was a guy that dropped dead at Walmart we were talking about?
That's right. But it was during that heat wave, but I don't know.
It was.
I think he had a heart attack. He was at Walmart. He was in the store.
But he wasn't that old either.
No, he wasn't. And we couldn't go to Walmart after that. Yeah. It was like in the early days of the Int base, you could go into the town that we lived at. If somebody you knew had a car, which was kind of a rare thing, but if you knew somebody with a car, on Sunday mornings, we'd get a few hours to do our laundry and to clean our room. And if you got up early and didn't want to sleep in that day, you could get up and go into town and go to the store. And
But we would go in uniform. So that's when that became a no-no. Like, no more, you can't go anywhere if you're wearing uniform.
Because there wasn't a lot of time to go do excursions.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd get dressed and you'd be ready for post. Then you'd go to Walmart and you walk into Walmart. And Walmart's in Hemet, California. There's no naval yards nearby.
No.
So you'd walk in this full fake Navy outfit with bars and everything. Some people were like lieutenant junior grade or commander or captain or whatever. And you'd walk into Walmart. It's like, hey, I didn't even see you guys pull in. Where you ducked? You know, it's like, no, we're in the desert. Okay, there's no sea around here.
No.
And it even said on the little tags, it would say Sea Organization, but when you go into Walmart, you have to take your tag off so nobody could see who you were, because it had your name on it too.
And it had the organization you were in.
Yeah, so if you were from, also there was a cover story for the base that it was a film studio. So if you walk into Walmart with something that says CMO International, which is a very high Scientology management organization, not a film outfit, then it would be like, oh, they're not shooting films, they're managing Scientology up there.
Yeah.
Which now everybody
And if you
knows.
forgot to take your tag off, you could be assigned a lower condition.
Anyway, my whole point of the uniform switching was that they got uniforms from J. Crew. So they got like these crew neck shirts for like the film teams and all these different departments of Golden Era. Instead of having C-related organizations, they just switched to different color shirts. So if you were in this area, wear a blue shirt, in this area, wear a brown shirt, and they were all from J. Crew. And initially it was like, if you need a new shirt, you have to send something into the uniform person and they will get you a shirt. And it was like this whole thing, oh, we're getting all new uniforms. Yay. No more crappy Sea Org uniforms. And so they switched over to this. Within a month, the Merona, that's the Walmart brand of the same type of shirts that you could get from J. Crew. You can get almost all the exact same colors of a J. Crew shirt at the time at Walmart. It was called, I want to say it was called Merona. Anyway, and so you would just end up buying your shirts from Walmart. The uniform people never bought me those shirts. I would go after that first, they gave me 3 shirts for the week, which is ridiculous because you're sweating and you're hot and you're nasty every day and you're not doing laundry until the week, for sure, the end of the week. But anyway, we would buy all our uniform from Walmart. Pants.
Somebody in the comments said it was Sonoma was the name.
No, it was Merona.
No? Okay.
Trust me, I bought them. I probably have one laying around here somewhere.
No,
Anyway, hey, you know what?
I threw that away a long time
Don't
ago.
don't knock Wally's. I've gotten quite a few high-end shorts from that old Sam's Club over there. People think like, what are all these shirts you're getting? It's like, well, I do. Some of these shirts most of the shirts you see me wear are from this place called Untuck It. And that's just because I got a big belly and I don't like to tuck in my shirts. So I get them from a place called Untuck It. I mean, it's a no-brainer. But shorts, all that stuff, Sam's Club, Costco, I'm easy. I'm like, we're not spending a lot of money on clothes for me at Sam's Club. I'm pretty good there. But Sea Org, you're buying your own. A lot of Sea Org members are paying for their own stuff, and a lot of Sea Org members would pay to dry clean their uniforms if they had some money and they bought enough parts. They would dry clean them. Oh my God, so much money. A lot of the money that you get paid, you're getting that $46 a week. A lot of that money, Scientology is taking right back. If they're getting it through the canteen, like they're selling you snacks and stuff like that, and you could buy your uniform parts. So like if you send in a thing saying, hey, I need a new shirt, and the girl said, oh, I can't get it through financial planning, it would have to get approved. That would never get approved through financial planning. It would always be like, no, we're not going to pay for that. We're not going to pay for that. We can't even pay for toilet paper. You think we're going to get Claire Headley a new shirt? But if you knew the price, you say, hey, I need a new shirt. You say, so it's never going to get approved. You'd be like, how much is it? It's $35. Okay, here's $35. Can I get a new shirt? And then they give you a shirt. So it's shitty. Lathanda again. Thank you, Lathanda. Usually your streams are at 2 to 4 a.m. over here. I'm an ICU nurse for 35 years working night shifts and basically transformed into an owl, perfect for SBTV.
Wow.
Hey, there you go. Perfect.
That's amazing.
Awesome. Yeah,
Thank
we
you for
do
sharing
have
that.
we do have a lot of people in a lot of places that watch this. It's crazy. We're up to 1,800 people in here right now. Hit that click Click that like button or that subscribe button if you haven't done it already. Oh,
Yay.
Leah, I've been binging your content for a couple weeks now, so thanks for that. Claire, what's your take on Janice's opinion that Shelley isn't missing, but is happy, comfortable, and with her friends?
Yeah, so I don't agree with Janice on that, which is fine. Everyone has their own opinions. I just think if that's the case, Shelley should tell that to us herself. Because that's to be the sign of being free. And, somebody else was commenting, well, how do you know she's not dead? I don't know she's not dead. And again, if I were Shelley, I would want people to keep asking questions, and I would want the ability to make the choice for myself, which I know Shelley does not have if she's still alive. So there you go. That's why I'm doing this series, and go keep on going.
Awesome.
Yep.
Okay, Emily Case says, so I was flipping through the TV channels the other day and saw a Scientology TV station. What's the point of that? Does it actually get people in, or is it more of an ego stroke for DM? You called it, Emily. That
Definitely
is an ego
the latter.
stroke for DM. They're not getting anyone into Scientology on that channel. In fact, Scientology is paying, I can't remember what the figure is. Somebody said it. There's something somewhere. They're paying millions of dollars to have that TV channel on DirecTV. Every video that's on there is also on their website, and everything on their website is useless in terms of telling you anything about Scientology.
Yeah.
It's like if the, I can't remember what the guy is. He's a cult guy, Jim Jones. If he did a video on Jonestown and said how amazing it was and its tropical oasis and all that, that's essentially what Scientology is doing. They're doing all these videos that say how awesome Scientology is. Well, if you talk to anybody who's been in Scientology, they'll say, that's not what's happening in Scientology. It ain't that awesome. It's horrible. Yeah. I just heard a story. My next door neighbor went to the same Scientology school that I went to here in Colorado. We never knew each other. When the Leah Remini Scientology in the Aftermath show came out, he came over and knocked on my door. He's like, hey, dude, you never told me you were in that nonsense. I was like, you never told me you were in that nonsense. Anyway, he went to Delphi in Delphi, Oregon. I went to the Delphi school in Los Angeles. But his mom was a Scientologist. And she's been a Scientologist for like 50 years. Yep. And she was still in, and he went to Scientology schools, but he never continued on in Scientology. He hasn't had anything to do with it for like 30 years. Yeah, and his mom, he just talked to his mom, and he said, "My mom finally quit." And I was like, "What?" She's in her 80s. She
paid them $5,000. And then the first thing they wanted to do is send her to ethics, and she was like, "Hell no, I'm out."
Yeah, and he was telling us, he's like, "You already gave him $250,000, but this $5,000, you're like, that's it. Nope, I'm done." And so yeah, and it takes it's different strokes for different folks, man. She gave these people $250,000 over 30, 40, 50 years. And when she gave them $5,000 and they didn't just give her what she paid for, and they said she was in trouble and all this, she's like, that's it, I'm done. Yep. And she's like, this David Miscavige has corrupted the whole place. It's like, well, maybe, but it was corrupt. He's just corrupted it more. It was already messed up. He just messed it up more.
Oh, by the way, my other answer to that last comment about the channel is it's the ego. And then also it's something that David Miscavige can show to Tom Cruise and say, look at me, look what I'm doing.
Well, it's also something he can tell all Scientologists, we've got our own TV channel now.
Aren't we amazing?
Oh, yeah, so does Baywatch. Mm-hmm. Baywatch, a show that was on 20 years ago, there's a channel that just plays Baywatch 24/7. So Scientology, congratulations on getting up to Baywatch level in the world of TV channels. If you want to watch Scientology all day and all night, these white bread, just nonsense videos with lens flare and everything fogged out and effects and very highly produced nonsense that tells you nothing, go for it.
Though I would say I guarantee Baywatch gets way more viewers.
Yeah. Well, no, 100%. Baywatch. Yeah. I'll watch an episode of Baywatch before I'm watching an episode of Scientology nonsense today, or whatever they call it over there. Yeah. Pete in Toronto says, Mark, were you disappointed not to win the birthday game in March? But don't you now have more subs than Church of Scientology has members? This is true. I do have more subscribers than there are Scientologists. We were kind of playing around with that birthday game thing, and I don't remember... We were
trying to get to 80,000 by March.
Oh, because that's 13th. How many the Scientology channel had?
No. Yeah, maybe.
We'll get there, guys. I mean, Scientology's they spend millions and millions. And also, I don't want to tell Scientology this, but I'm going to. Just because I find it so fun. But Scientology pays so much money on the internet for ads and stuff like that. They're the reasons why these Scientology videos get monetized and moved up in the ranks so quickly on YouTube, is because the algorithm thinks that people want to know about this because there's so much ad dollars being spent on it. So in a weird sort of twisted way, Scientology is not only paying for these videos, but they are making the algorithm put these videos at the top because they're always in the news and they're always paying for millions and millions of dollars for Google ads. So the algorithm's like, people want to know about this. So YouTube sends our videos. And it is true. The more you subscribe, the more you like, the more you comment on videos, the algorithm does push it into the recommended videos section more. Yep. But I want to say, I'm going to look here right now, guys. I'm all about looking at the numbers here. Recommended.
Mark loves his analytics.
I do love these analytics. Recommended. Of course, I go to do it and I can't. I
can't find it.
Well, no, because when I want to see it, I don't know where it's coming from. Oh, here we go. Okay. Suggested videos. Right now, 35% of our viewers are coming from suggested videos. So the video gets suggested and then somebody watches it. So, and the way it's doing that is when they get liked and subscribed, and when there's user engagement or comments or any of that sort of thing. The algorithm is a secret. They're always kind of tweaking it, I think. But as far as we can understand, that's why these videos get watches. So Thank you for the people who have subscribed and liked these videos. We appreciate it, and it helps us keep going. Yes. Ms. Pillow says, a little trick on the Scientology email list. Every time I receive a phishing email that shows an individual email address, I report the phishing email, but I also sign that email address up for the COS newsletter. 2 birds, 1 stone.
Nice. That's amazing.
That's such a great idea, actually. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure how that works exactly, but it sounds fun. Thank you for that, Ms. Blow. Destiny Salazar says, do you know if Scientology nursing homes are subject to any regulatory agencies? That's a very good question. So I'm trying to debate whether we can talk about, I'll just talk about this. I'll use vague terms in terms of some of these individuals. Yeah. But we found that what Scientology is doing with these elderly folks that are and to be fair, almost all of these cases that we're dealing with these days are Sea Org members that are becoming elderly. There was another thing that was happening, which is totally separate to this, where Scientology had elderly civilian members that they were signing up for credit cards. And that's when this whole chase wave, it's called the chase wave, is generally how it's referred to, where Scientology was committing tens of millions of dollars worth of credit card fraud. And so much so that the Chase credit card company said, we will not work with you anymore. Like, if you are from a Scientology facility or business or organization, you are not allowed to use our credit card services anymore for getting money from people. It's illegal for you. Yeah. And
American Express had done the same before that.
Yeah, American Express did that, I want to say in the 80s, sometime in the late 80s, late 80s. Mid 80s. American Express did the same thing for the exact same reason. They were charging people's cards and the people weren't being we're not aware of it, or they said you can put $50 and they put $5,000, that sort of thing. Yeah. So the thing that they're doing now is not only are they doing that credit card fraud, of course, they're elderly, we're going to get that money, but the other thing that they're doing is they're then taking those people and putting them in a nursing home or some sort of care facility, whether it's a legit nursing home or not. It could just be an apartment building with a bunch of folks that are older in it. And they're using their Social Security payments to pay the minimum balance on the credit cards and to pay whoever is renting this apartment building out. Or the room out for their person. And in some cases, they're ganging members up in these apartments. So they might be paying for a 1-bedroom apartment, but they might have 6 elderly people in it or whatever. I don't know exactly how it's being done, but we do know that there are places where they're putting these people where they're not being properly cared for.
Yep, and you absolutely do know that.
And not only that, but those places are sort of acting like a camp for them. So if they want to leave, there's somebody there that says, no, you're not supposed to go anywhere. Just stay right here. Let me call somebody if you want to end up going out. And so if somebody is trying to take off, or if a family member comes to visit them or finds out they're there and says, hey, we're getting out of here, then that person lets somebody know, hey, the son just came and he's taken the person. And we actually were able to find an elderly Sea Org member. We were able to locate them exactly where they were at. We got family members and some other people to go and get that person. And within minutes, we had the head of that nursing home or what care facility, whatever you want to call it, was on the phone with us threatening to call the police if we didn't bring the person back. Even though the person was like, you got to get me out of here.
No, he threatened the elderly person.
I understand.
Not to us. Yeah, no, I know.
I understand. But as soon as
it's one level worse.
Yeah, well, yeah. They did say it to the elderly person. But then once they figured out that the elderly person wasn't acting on their own, they then threatened, you better return this person. Otherwise, there's going to be consequences. We didn't do anything. We're just like, whatever. Yeah, the consequences are you're going to get shut down. Shut up. Anyway, but it's horrible. It's horrible. And it's not, and this is sort of a thing when you're in the Sea Org. You do wonder, like, what's going to happen when I get older? And you start to see when you're there, like one time at the international headquarters, they just got a bunch of buses and they put all the old people on it and they were gone. So one day you woke up and, 80% of the old folks were gone that day. And these were people that had been in the Sea Org their entire lives. Like they were on the tugboat or ferry, cow ferry, or whatever the Apollo, the Sea Org ship was, before L. Ron Hubbard bought it. They were on that boat with L. Ron Hubbard, and then they were at the base, and they were at and they were just like thrown out like the trash, just like, hey, these guys, they're not working past dinner. And that was another thing, is that when these people start aging out in the Sea Org, their schedule gets less and less. So you had people coming in the morning bus for breakfast, and they were leaving on a lunch bus to go home. They literally could only work for 3 hours just because they're just not able to have a full-time job at 72. And especially
but they had
in
to have
the
special
Sea Org.
approval to get onto that shortened schedule. And
Yeah.
a lot of times it would be denied. Or you'd have elderly people that instead of going home at midnight, they were allowed to go home at 10 p.m.
Yes, that's right. For a long time, it would be like, oh, where are they going? And be like, oh, they're securing early. And you'd be like, what? And be like, well, they're elderly, dude. And you'd be like, I know, but it's like 10 o'clock. They get to go home that early? I'm saying 10 p.m. at night. So we would have got there at 8. And if you were elderly, they'd let you go home at 10. And then it got to the point where, if somebody had a stroke or if somebody fell down or somebody broke their leg or something, it'd be like, okay, we'll let them go home at dinner from now on.
Yeah.
And then if you were really up there, and maybe one time I'll have to tell that Barry story. Where,
oh my goodness, that's in your book. That's in your book.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay, you got to look at the book for that one. It's not PG-13, folks. Anyway,
get a copy of Blown for Good Behind the Iron Curtain of Scientology by Mark Headley.
We went way off topic on that one. Jill Harrison, with divorce so commonplace and no biggie, why doesn't DM just divorce Shelley and remarry to take pressure off? Where is his wife? Good question, Jill.
And the answer to that is because of what Shelley knows, he will not do that.
Yeah.
Because he does not want to lose control of her.
Yes. And also,
and he doesn't much care about the rules, as we learned from Jackson's story that, who needs a divorce?
Who's going to tell on him? The girl he's getting busy with these days?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Not so much.
Stacy says, have you seen the Jonathan Ross interview with Courtney Love talking about Scientology, warlords, Kirsty, Allie, Tom Cruise wedding, and LRH saying we come from mollusks, LOL? I've never seen that, but all of those things sound accurate.
Yep.
I have not seen that. Is it recent? Maybe somebody can post, send me a link, put a link in the comments, and I'll check it out.
Or email us a link. That would be great.
John Satowski says, they will get my lawn darts when they pry them out of my cold dead hands. Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Frequent flyer John here.
Yes.
Gina Marie Torino, thank you for the super sticker. Evelyn Lee Barney, plastic ball tip, search lawn darts game. Yeah, no, I know what lawn darts are.
We missed the 30-minute giveaway mark, I think.
No, we gave it away. We did the second one.
Oh, I thought we were doing one every 30 minutes.
Oh, I see. We did one at 45, and then we did one at an hour. You want to do another one? I thought we had two. If you're fine to do another one,
we'll do a final one at the end when we're done.
I'm trying to get through the last of these questions. They keep coming.
Yep.
Chow Young Schmutt. I need to get a mini mic because I'm going to be in both Aruba and Curacao in August. Might need to snap some photos of Mike with the free wins. Okay, well, if you've got enough money to go to Aruba and Curacao, just go to the spshop.com or the SP shop. Isn't there a new one now that we have? New merch store?
We have to do the final steps of linking it. But the other one, hold on.
It's in the description. The link's in the description. You can go there and get one. They're not that much, the bobbleheads. I think this was, I need to get a mini mic. Okay, get a mini mic. I approve of this message. Yes, you need a mini mic. If you're going to Aruba and Curacao, then you need to snap some photos of Mike with the free ones. Absolutely. I agree. Thank you. Gina Marie sends another super sticker there. Thank you for that, Gina. Oh, here's another one, Gina Marie. Thinking of your love story, Mark and Claire, no matter what. Oh, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yes, we are been together for 31 years.
Almost.
So...
Almost. August is our 31st
Oh my God. Didn't we start dating in May or some nonsense like that? Just take it easy.
We started dating in May and we got married in August.
It's like a 12-year-old celebrating my 5.5 birthday.
Now, honey, don't do that. We were going to get married in July, but that didn't work out because my mom did not approve right at the moment. She was like, remember, she was trying to get me to wait 6 months. I'm like, for someone that got married when you were 8 months pregnant with me, that's pretty comical.
And how old was she?
17.
Exactly. It's like, come on, Mom.
Yeah.
Oh boy, metalhead again. Was that leaked TC COS video actually written by anyone? It sounds as if they told him, just make stuff up as you go. Oh my God. I think we did a video about this on Aaron's channel. I can't remember where. I've talked about this video in a million different places. Mm-hmm. That video was the third in a series of Tom Cruise videos. And that was just Tom Cruise talking. They just asked him questions about him, and then he answered questions about him to a camera. And then David Miscavige spent days meticulously cutting that video together. So that video is a snapshot of David Miscavige's mind of what would be the best possible things Tom Cruise could say to talk about how awesome Tom Cruise was. And so that video, we're talking about the black turtleneck video, which is like, if you got KSW and have you ever met an SP?
The only person who can help at the site of an accident or whatever nonsense that was. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That's all.
I cannot even watch it anymore. It's just so cringy.
I want to say that it was about an hour or maybe an hour or two of footage. It was a small camera crew just talking to Tom. And that video is unedited. It looks like somebody chopped it up and made it. No, that's David Miscavige chopping it up. What's out there is what David Miscavige spent days and days just, even when the music comes in.
Yeah.
And the way the announcer goes,
Oh my goodness.
Tom Cruise has introduced billions to Scientology.
Yeah.
And they just take, like, if you watched a Tom Cruise movie, you've been introduced to Scientology. That's how
Yeah,
they come up with
there's
the
this
billions.
one section in that video where Tom Cruise is walking, and the VO was like, Tom Cruise, and then Tom Cruise goes, and then it's Scientologist. David Miscavige worked on that 10 seconds for at least a full 24 hours around the clock. It was insane.
Oh, here Rusty says, Miscavige wedding definitely before December 82, 80, 81 in MCI. MCI is Massacre Canyon Inn, which is the dining hall that we used to eat in. There was a giant massacre there many years ago where some Indians and some cowboys, or I can't remember who was involved, but there was a massacre there. And that the name of the dining hall we ate in was called Massacre Canyon Inn. David Miscavige wedding, definitely before December 82, 81 in MCI. I left in spring 82. They'd already been married a while. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe it was December 81. I'll double check that. The information I have was December 82, but thank you for that. And yeah, maybe shoot me an email. I'd love to pick your brains on any other information you might want to share.
Yes, we're literally getting pieces of stuff from all over the place.
Yep.
And so yeah, we're putting it all
But
together.
even if it was December 81, they'd still been a, quote unquote. Anyway, yeah, neither here nor there. But thank you for that.
If they were boinking for 2 years or 3 years, it doesn't matter. To any Sea Org member that got in trouble for that,
to us.
it is a huge deal in the world of Scientology that David Miscavige and Shelley Miscavige were lying when being interrogated and lying about not going out 2D, and they were working for Hubbard. It's just, if you were in the Sea Organization, this is a scandalous revelation.
Yeah. To anyone else, they're like, whatever. Who doesn't
like,
do
who
that?
cares? I know.
Yeah,
It's so, and
it's
that's
crazy.
the craziest part is in the Sea Org, there's so much significance put on this that
Oh my gosh.
people's careers end over these type of things. And we've known of, I want to say, we knew of people that went to the RPF, but we know of people that left the Sea Org because of something like this.
Yeah.
Like it was found out they did something, and then we never saw them ever again, and they may have been there for 20 years before that.
Yeah.
Nurse Lori says, been watching from the beginning, got hooked watching the aftermath, can't wait for Claire and Hannah's books.
Yay.
Yes, Hannah's writing a book too. That's right.
Yeah, Hannah's way more done than I am too.
Yeah,
She said she's at like 80%. I'm at 25%. I gotta quit playing drag ass.
She said it, not me, folks. Thanks for the super sticker.
I did. I own it.
People are trying to. I think people are.
Amy PH.
Okay,
that's my
if you say
translation.
so, I think people are trying to throw me off here. Pat Shore, Mark, she is your superior. Don't question her. LOL. Love when you guys go back and forth like that. Okay, that's what I'm saying here. I'm like, okay, yeah.
I know. I always laugh when people get ticked off about various different things. I'm like, my gosh, we've been married almost 31 years. Like, seriously.
And guess who's starring all these questions? Yeah, this one right here. Mousy says, oh, it's just nonstop now. Mousy says, Mark wears the pants. Claire decides which ones. It never ends. I can never, this is no win. Marilyn Honig says, hi, Mark and Claire. Love you guys. Just tuning in, but wanted to remind everyone, Monday night after Aaron's live stream is the 10-hour chatathon, just to show Mike our love and appreciation. # Team Mike. Thank you, Marilyn. Yeah, they're doing, it's Clearwater Chad. They're at Clearwater Chad, Maryland. I don't know if Denver Steve-O is involved with that.
Yes,
Denver Steve-O. They have all these guys that have these channels, and they're going to do this chatathon, a 10-hour. I think that might even be the max that YouTube lets you do. I'm not sure, but they're going to do a 10-hour broadcast to support Mike. # Team Mike.
Yes.
I've been telling people you don't have to do it because Mike and Christy did this video. They said they're good for now. But if people want to show support, I'm not going to tell them not to show support.
And I got to say, their line, "Up all night for the love of Mike," I love that. It's just the best. It's just the best. We love Mike. We all love Mike.
We do.
We are all rooting for Mike. So, yeah.
Oh, here's a good one. Witness says, Hemet is like the surface of the sun sometimes. So hot.
Totally. Oh my gosh.
It is so hot there. You know, that property.
It's like hell. It's like working in hell.
That property, if you wanted to tell somebody, like, what's the hottest place you could ever, that is one of those places. Like, it would, I think the highest that it ever got when I was personally there in the summer was I want to say 124. Yep. 124, that 125.
My recollection too.
But 100 and somebody in the comments say, what's 125 Fahrenheit? What is that in Celsius? Because we got all these people over in Europe. We gotta convert this. I can't convert it. I'm not a scientist. Anyway,
come on, guys, cut us a break. I was born in a cult.
But it is so hot there that people would pass out.
50 Celsius.
50 Celsius.
50 Celsius.
Thank
you,
how much
Michelle.
125 degrees is 50 Celsius.
Yeah.
So wherever you've been, that's been 50 Celsius. That's like August, September, like July, August, September at the international headquarters. That's what it's like.
Yeah.
And it's almost like just to go from one building to another building, like to go to lunch, you got to run. Otherwise, you will get cooked. You'll get sunburn on the way there. It's that hot. And when we did wear black shoes, the tops of your feet would get burnt for standing out in the sun for like 5 or 10 minutes.
Yep.
Miss Pelosi says, trying to get a friend, now retired, to write his story when he went to Golden Era Productions to inspect sprinklers, and he encountered all kinds of Scientology weirdness. We'll send story when I get it. Awesome.
Oh, yes, please.
We have heard from so many contractors and so many professionals that went to do something at a Scientology facility. And one of the guys that I was talking to that was at construction in Florida said that one time they were finishing something at this building. It's called the Fort Harrison Hotel, and it's pretty much the original Scientology building in downtown Clearwater that they bought back in the 70s. And they were doing some kind of renovations or something there. And one of the construction guys said, I think he was a drywall guy or a carpet guy or some trade like that. And he said he opened a closet and there was a Sea Org member in there that had been vacuuming and fell asleep in the closet standing up. And somebody had just closed the door and left them in there. And there was a vacuum running and everything. And they were just in a closet, just upright, snoozing it.
Well, you fell asleep in the baffles up in the sound studio once, right?
I didn't really fall asleep. I kind of was up there for so many days that I couldn't kind of unbend to climb out. And they had to kind of they had to maneuver me out. I've been wiring up there in like the fetal position for so long that when I went to extend, I couldn't. My back was the muscles were all cramped and from being in that position for so long. And they literally had to kind of carry me in a stretcher to somewhere. And this chiropractor guy had to like unwind me. M Nancy 01 says, Mark, my man, where have you been? I so enjoy the two of you and your content. Someone should knock that guy out. I don't know who you're talking to. I do not condone violence, but if somebody needs to be knocked out, I'm sure somebody will
David
deal with
Miscavige.
it. I know.
Yeah.
Scientology gets really excited if you're like, oh yeah, somebody sent me some of the David Miscavige shoots that had like rockets fired at like a Scientology facility. And I was like, yeah, no, we do not endorse rockets. Rockets is too much. Destiny Salzar, what do you think the daily life with Davey is like right now? Daily life with Davey is not good right now. He is probably, the boss baby throws tantrums when the boss baby, Aaron just did a video about There's a case going on, human trafficking, forced imprisonment, whole case going down in Florida, and they've appealed this arbitration portion of that. And if the courts and the lawyers can figure out a way to navigate around this Scientology arbitration nonsense that they've sort of locked into, if that can be undone, that's going to be the end of it. Because as soon as Scientology's kind of rigged the system right now, where they make you sign these documents that say, when you leave, if you want to do anything with us, you got to do it on our terms. You can't go to the courts. And the courts are like, sounds good to us. And they've sort of left it up to Scientology to do their own justice, which is crazy if you think about, well, these people are being abused though. And they've tried it every single time. It didn't work in that Danny Masterson thing, and it's certainly not going to work in some of these other things. Yeah. But for Sea Org members that have left and are trying to sue Scientology in a civil case, Scientology has been able to get away with it with this arbitration thing.
Of recent years, Amy Scobie and I on one of our Wednesday weekly shows talked all about that extensively, how this is a legal lawyer fabrication by Scientology to try and dodge these lawsuits. So if this can get walked back, and it absolutely should be, because it's not a real thing.
Yeah. Maria de Jesus Gutierrez says, #T-Mike. Thank you for that, Maria. Yes. Maria sent us some amazing footage, which is likely going to be in our new video that we have coming out in the next few weeks. Hopefully, I think we either said it was going to be the beginning or mid of July is when we're going to have this new video that we've been working on come out. Yeah. But yes, thank you for that, Maria. Stephanie Stewart, here we go. Easy conversion, Fahrenheit to Celsius temperature, -30 divided by 2. Remember that, everybody.
Funny. That's what our friend just said. We were just chatting with a very dear friend of ours in England. That's exactly the formula he said. I just wasn't paying close enough attention.
I wasn't either. He was like, -30. I was like,
yeah.
How does he do? Thank you, Stephanie. We just talked to somebody who said the same thing, and we didn't remember it 5 minutes later. So hopefully, -30 divided by 2,
we need to practice it a few times. Make it stick.
Carmina Mañana. Never end and fascinated how Scientology attracted the smartest and brightest with change the world vibe.
Yeah.
It was very, Scientology in the 60s and the 70s was very like hippie counterculture, like, man, we're going to buck the system, man. And now it's like an authoritarian, overbearing cult masquerading as a religion, doing business as a crime syndicate, elder abuse, everything they could cram into there. Jackie, much love to you and Mr. Rinder. Aloha from Waggy World, Honolulu.
Well, this is Jackie.
Thank you, Jackie.
She's the 60-something-year-old spark woman who does skateboarding in her backyard. I watched her video. It's amazing. I'm like,
nice.
Wow. Hats off to you, Jackie.
Sebastian Ospina, super sticker. Thank you for that. Here she is.
And yes, shout out to Mark Fisher and Janice Grady. They have a live stream coming up at 7 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah, that's why we have to get out of here.
Yeah, we do.
Are we feeding into that? Is that when we end?
No, because it's I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's in an hour and 8 minutes that they're starting.
Not if it's 5 Eastern.
No, he said, hold on. I said what time it was, but it wasn't 5 Eastern. 7 p.m. Eastern, which is 5 p.m. Mountain Time.
Oh, okay. Well, we can't forward into that, but there you go. Don't do it. Okay. Chow Young Smut says, I'm not rolling in it. I'm going on a cruise for a professional conference. But yeah, once I'm back in Minnesota, I'll be placing an order from the SP shop.
Chow Young, don't mind Mark.
I know. I was just saying.
Don't mind Mark.
I'm like,
I know.
I'm going to Curacao and Aruba. Can you send me a bobblehead? It's like, well, okay. Like let's evaluate the situation here.
Well,
one of us is going on a cruise and one of us is not. And one of us wants to give the other a bobblehead. I don't know. Maybe not.
To be fair, honey, though, we go on cruises and we're not rolling in it either.
I understand, but I'm also not asking someone to send me a bobblehead. I mean, I do have a few hundred, but whatever. That's not the point. Borderline What says, we love Poet. Okay.
Nice.
There is, I think, somebody in the chat called Poet that's
I think
stirring up craziness, and then they love it.
Yep.
Couch says, coffee tastes awesome in my Xenu coffee mugs.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. That is a huge deal. We are selling a ton of Hail Xenu coffee mugs, and is there Xenu as my homeboy coffee mugs as well?
That's a good question. If there's not, we should add that. I'll make a note.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
We're selling a ton of Where's Shelly coffee mugs and Blown for Good mugs, and coffee
we
does
added
taste
the first
better.
of the Theta Potato shirts.
Theta Potato. We got Not Today Thetan. If you say it Not Today Thetan, it sounds even better. Yes, there is a ton of great merch. If you guys haven't checked out the merch, there is a funny one. Maria says, post the release for me to sign. I think I have the release, and I think Claire sent it to me, and I just didn't put it in the folder. So I'll do that, Maria.
That's
Thank
exactly
you.
Right.
Sorry
Thanks
you
for
did
the
have
reminder, Maria.
Yeah, sorry you had to do a super sticker for that. It's just I've got like 600 emails waiting for me to do something on. Mer P says, question: besides Mike, who surprised you the most when they left Scientology? That Mitch guy surprised me when he left.
Yeah,
he was a lifer.
Ron Sr. surprised me.
Yeah, the only thing about Ron Sr. was I think I don't know. I kind of really knew Ron, and I kind of thought if somebody's going to go, he's going to go maybe. But Mitch, I've talked about Mitch a bunch of times. This is Mitch Brisker, the one that just did the video with Janice and Mark. I've told a lot of stories about those times and stuff like that. And for the most part, I think, Mitch was he was sort of an outsider. He was essentially just a higher paid Sea Org member, but he had a whole life. He had a family, and he had a house and a mortgage and, everything that you would have in that world, but he worked in the Sea Org world, and it ruined his regular life. I want to say they ruined his relationships and things he could have done if he was just being a dad and a husband and, living his life. But because he was living in this Sea Organization environment, it just didn't work out. And it was it took a horrible toll on him.
Yeah.
And, it's just a sad story, and it's another one of these stories where he started getting older, and they started bringing in new young kids and young directors, and he was like, I don't like this, and it was just like, more and more. It's like, sorry, old man, we're done with you.
We'll definitely talk to Mitch. I really liked his wife Allison at the time, but yeah, Mitch was a unique person in so many ways because he was, for all intents and purposes, being a Sea Org member, but he wasn't.
Yeah. And he wasn't being paid that much. I thought when I was in the Sea Org, I thought he was getting, millions of dollars. But, then when I left, I was like, oh, he really wasn't making that much money. Like, he was basically covering his monthly nut, if that, maybe not even that.
On a few occasions, we really tried to get to be able to talk to him. Remember one time we even drove by his house to see if he was there, to just...
Oh, I sent him emails. I did.
Yeah.
Oh, I might even have talked about this on a live stream.
Oh.
Yeah. This is the guy I was telling you guys about. I sent him emails in 2005 when I got out. I sent him emails and said, dude, you got to get out. I got to talk to you. I got to tell you some stuff. And I kept sending him. And finally, he just said, dude, I don't want to hear from you ever again. Don't talk to me. And I was like... okay, I tried. And then, I started talking to him, a few weeks ago, and he's like, I was like, hey, just to, just be fair, I tried. And he's like, I know, I wish I could get those. What is that? That's 17 years.
18 years.
18 years.
Yep.
So if you're watching this and you're in Scientology,
Ain't
that
no time like the present.
That money may be gone, but every extra minute you spend there, you ain't getting that back. You can't make the time again. You can always make more money. You can always buy another car or another house, or you can always do all that stuff, but the time's gone. Every time, all the minutes you waste, those are gone forever.
Yep. Time, memories, those are things you can't ever get back.
VSP since 1970 says, much respect to you both for all you do. Thank you for that. We appreciate it. We appreciate all the support, you guys. We appreciate all the guys tuning in here to watch this stuff. And those who like and subscribe, we also have a special place in our heart for you people as well.
We're almost at 2,000. Yay.
We are. And we are almost to the end of this stream. Chiyoko B says, super sticker. Thank you. And Kay Topsit says, super sticker. That's all it is. Perfect. Love it. Thank you. Here we go. Michael Lake, can you say how many people Aftermath Foundation has helped escape? It's incredible what you both do, more than Scientology has to make the world better. I don't know if we're keeping track like that because it's different. Some people, there's kind of all different categories for the Aftermath Foundation. Yep. The Aftermath Foundation is there to help people sort of get back on their feet once they've left Scientology. Every once in a while, the person who's leaving Scientology hasn't done it yet. And we help them leave, and then we help them get back on their feet. But we've helped people that were in the Sea Org maybe a few years ago and they left, or they were in Scientology their whole life, and now their family have disconnected from them because they said they no longer want to be involved with Scientology. So everybody has a different story. And in most cases, these people, this is not the best time. Maybe when you first get out, maybe that's not the best time to share your story. Maybe after a year or so when you get your feet back on the ground and you sort of figure everything out. And so we're not eager to share those people's stories with anybody. And
we want those people to share their stories or not. It's no strings attached. There's when the Aftermath Foundation helps somebody, there's absolutely no requirement that they speak out ever.
Yeah.
Nothing. And also the help that is provided varies so widely. There's many pieces of that we don't really put a number on, like just talking to people, helping with resumes, career mentorship, all of those elements. But we are definitely gaining some really good momentum. Like last year, the direct assistance we provided by dollar amount was, I think, triple what we've done in prior years. So we're absolutely gaining amazing momentum, and those stories will be shared. So yes.
Yeah, for all those that want to share, we're perfectly happy to do so. Yeah. Rock It Out with Kim D. Hi says, Claire, what's the name of your fur baby?
Oh, hi, Kim D. Hey. Well, I have 4 fur babies. Bella is my German Shepherd. She's not here right now. Max is Mark's fur baby, more so. I mean, if you ask Max right before dinner, he'll say he's my fur baby. And then our kitties are Oreo and Jazzy. And then there's the salamander. That's Mark's project.
It's Grayson's.
Well, yeah, but you found him and brought him into the home where we had a pet moratorium.
It's true. Lori in Georgia says, when I was little, I thought clearing the planet meant beaches.
That's amazing.
That's amazing. That is
so
good. We're clearing
funny.
the planet. We're picking up cans off the beach.
Yeah. So my version of that was I would always hear people talking about Scientology saying that it was brainwashing, and I was like, how does that work? Do you put your brain in a washing machine? Like, what is that? Bizarre.
Yep. John Satowski says, should rum and coke be called the Xenu cocktail? No, rum and coke was Hubbard's thing. So you could call it the Blubbered Hubbard, or, you could make a name for that. I'm pretty sure that whatever drink Xenu likes has glycol in it. I don't know how you would do that. That's what he put all the body things in, the people in, frozen and put them in the volcanoes.
Yeah. Well, if we ever do an SP cruise, we'll figure out a Xenu cocktail. We'll have
we should figure one out.
Costume contest. We'll have another night where we just do Scientology songs, karaoke. We stand tall, all that.
I don't know why we're waiting for a cruise. We need to think of some drinks right now. People are doing drinking games. If you guys have ideas for Xenu-themed cocktails,
shoot us an email.
Shoot us an email or just get in the comments. You don't have to email us everything. Just go in the comments and say, put a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and we'll call it the Xenu Rum Jumper. Or,
we're not going to see it. We don't go back and read the comments. That's why
I do.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then tell me.
I even answer questions in the comments. There's a lot of times people they don't get them here, and I'll just go and oh yeah, I know the answer to that, and I'll just write in the comments.
Well, okay, but you're saying comments, not in the chat.
I said comments. I meant comments.
No, I know. I was just.
So yeah.
I was reaffirming.
That's what I got to deal with, folks. You see what I'm saying? It's just like I can't win. I can't lose. It's just like I'm doing. I'm doing. Let's do a giveaway. I got all those questions. We did all the questions. I did all the questions that were starred. I did a ton of questions that weren't super chats or whatever you call them, super stickers.
Yes.
And I'm an equal opportunity chat answerer. Okay. Do we want to do? We'll do a giveaway, and then we'll wrap this piggy up.
Yep, and don't forget to get on over to Scientology Stories Peeling the Onion in 56 minutes for their live stream.
Yeah, we've got. If you want to get something, get in there, get in the comments. I'm going to do a countdown here. We are definitely getting some. Wait a minute, what time is it? Oh yeah, no, I've caught up. I have caught up. It goes fast when there's 2,000 people in here. Okay, so we'll do a 5, 4, 3, 2, and a big old. Oh, wait a minute, I am behind. Sorry, guys. I got to catch up. I had it. There we go. I'm back. Here we go. I got it. It took me a little bit to get
I know.
down
I was
there.
like, we're not done with comments either, honey. There's a couple left.
No, there is one. I saw that. Okay. Merch for me 2D.
Okay then, Rachel.
Rachel, send Claire an email at blownforgood.com and you will get some merch for your 2D. Let's do this last question. Oh, it's John Satowski. The Scientology cocktail. No alcohol. You just drink the Kool-Aid. That's a great one. That's a great drink.
Great one.
We can make a drink recipes for the people who like to do the drinking games when we do a live. And we can say, we can just give the recipes of them. And that'll be the Scientology cocktail. It'll be like, no alcohol. That
way OSA can participate too.
That's right. They can literally
just have
mix
some
up
Kool-Aid.
some ooze. What is it? Kool-Aid man. That guy busts through the wall. Big giant jug of sugar water. Thank you for that, John Satowski. John Satowski is a frequent flyer here. I think I'm going to go out on a limb and say we haven't done a live that he hasn't been on. It just seems like maybe he's an AI robot that just when we do a live, he's got some little program that goes in and then does some super chats. I don't know how he could just be on every single one that we've ever done. It does seem interesting to me. I wonder about this. Thanks for tuning in today, guys. I'm glad we could do this. We're going to be recording a bunch of other videos today that are going to be coming out over the next few weeks. I am going on a work trip, and I will be out for a few weeks. So I'm going to try to crank out as many lives and as many pre-recorded videos before I take off on that trip. And I will not be bringing my whole rig to this hotel that I'm going to be at because it's a short. It's a lot of work that we got to do in a short amount of time, and I can't be messing around with videos and doing other stuff. So we're going to try to get as much of that out. Claire's still going to be around. She might do live. She might do whatever during that time period, but my days are numbered, and that is why we've been doing less videos. Is just because we have so much work happening in our regular lives. Not
yeah, I'm going to be on a work trip for a few days coming up here too. So.
Yeah, so we're busy, but we're going to be cranking out some content. And I just wanted to show this last comment just because it's funny. Lonesome Squirrel also known as CO Bilf, says people who say merch after the giveaway is done are PTS. All right, that's a potential trouble source in Scientology.
Yeah, so
but
they can head on over to the spshop-fourthwall.com and get themselves a potential trouble source sweatshirt.
You know, and I do have to say, in those people who are PTS for commenting merch after it, is that sometimes, depending on the connection, and I know this to be true because I've done it myself, is that sometimes these comments, if you're on a phone in the middle of nowhere, by the time it gets up to the satellite and then gets back down to a ground station, then gets to the internet and then makes it over to YouTube, a minute or two has sometimes passed before it populates into what we're seeing here. So it's not always instantaneous. And that is one of the reasons why I do this whole kind of preamble and do a countdown, is so that those people can get their comment up by the time we hit. So anyway, so thank you for that. And thank you for the funny comment, Lonesome Squirrel, a.k.a. CO Bilf. I think that's it. Did I forget anything? Did we cover everything we needed to cover?
We covered everything.
Thanks, guys. Tune in, like and subscribe, all that good stuff. And if you want to watch some other videos, there's going to be a card after this. And the first one's going to be the video that YouTube thinks you should watch. And the next one is going to be the video that we think you should watch. And I would love to know which one of those is the video for you. So that being said, there's a subscribe button in between those two videos. And that's how this end card works, or outro, or whatever you want to call it. Bye, guys. All right, where's my hand? There it is.